chaos in the capital, Caracas, included Molotov cocktails, tear gas, bullets, a Venezuelan National Guard truck crossing a median and mowing down more than a dozen protesters.
Both sides accuse the other of attempting a coup. Self-proclaimed Venezuelan President Juan Guaido is calling for Venezuelan citizens and members of the military to join him in taking control of the country.
We're in a very dire situation. Both sides are stuck. Venezuelans love dominoes. We play dominoes. We say the juego está trancado. The game is stuck when neither of the players has a piece that will move us forward. Most polls show that Maduro doesn't have the support of the people. He is incredibly unpopular. He has presided over the collapse of the economy. Elections last year in May were widely discredited, incredibly irregular, undemocratic.
Gracias, Venezuela.
Guaido invoked the Constitution to claim that he's the legitimate leader of Venezuela. He's calling on an uprising. He's calling on the military, who so far has been loyal to Maduro, to rise up and restore constitutional order. Of course, Maduro and Chavistas don't see it that way.
We're not going to see the Russians take over a country in the Western Hemisphere, not directly, not through their surrogates, the Cubans. And that's why President Trump yesterday suggested that if the Cubans don't get off the body politic in Venezuela, they're going to face significant consequences on their own. That's why we say all options are on the table, and it's why we say the Monroe Doctrine is back.
The United States needs to step back and allow Latin American countries in the region to take the lead. The history of the United States in the region is terrible, of intervention and removing governments that were not close to it. But there is a legitimate democratic struggle in Venezuela that is supported by democratically elected leaders and governments in the region. I feel like it's time for them to step up. It's time for them to be more visible. It's time for them to exercise more pressure to make a democratic transition possible.
Today's measure totals $7 billion in assets blocked today.
We know that sanctions are not always effective in dislodging autocratic regimes. We see that in Cuba, North Korea, and Iran. They can isolate themselves from the effects of sanctions while using them politically to point out that if the United States is in fact to blame for the economic hardships. So some of the rhetoric and threats from people like John Bolton, Marco Rubio, Pompeo are contributing to this climate of distrust and antagonism. That's what needs to change.
Decía Mike Pompeo en la tarde que yo, decía Maduro, tenía un avión prendido para irse para Cuba, para huir, y los rusos lo bajaron del avión y le prohibieron que saliera del país. Señor Pompeo, por favor.
The United States sees Russian efforts to prop up Maduro as encroaching in its sphere of influence. But frankly, the United States and Russia are not the protagonists here and should not be the protagonists. Pointing fingers at the Russians further erases Venezuelans from the picture. It's just Venezuelans who are going to get hurt in the end.